There's a year in your past you could point to right now, the year everything cracked open, or the year the floor fell out from under you. You didn't become a different person that January. Same chart, same talents, same you. The year changed. In BaZi, that's not a feeling. It's a mechanic, and it has a name. Last time we talked about the 10-year seasons, the luck pillars. But underneath the season, there's a faster layer, one that turns over every 12 months. The classics call it the annual pillar, your year. Today, why one year lifts you and the next one grinds you, how this year is talking to your chart right now, and how to read the weather before you walk out into it. I'm Jimmy, 20 years of needles and pulse readings on my other channel. Here, we put that same theory to work on destiny. BaZi, same 5 forces, reading a birth chart instead of a body. Let's go. First, where does a year even come from? Think back to the layers. Your birth chart is the engine, fixed at the factory. Your luck pillar is the road, a new stretch every 10 years. That's episodes 3 through 5. The annual pillar is the weather on that road today. Every year the calendar hands everyone alive the same new pair of characters. One stem, one branch, a fresh element walking into the room. 2024 was a wood year. 2025, wood again but a different flavour. 2026 turns to fire. Everyone on Earth gets the same annual element, but it lands on 7 billion different charts, and that's why the same year feels like a gift to one person and a storm to another. So you're always standing inside 3 layers at once: the engine you were born with, the decade you're driving through, and the single year you're living right now. The year is the smallest of the 3, but it's the one you feel the most, because it changes the fastest, and it talks to your chart in 3 ways. You already know 2 of them. When the year brings the element you're hungry for, the one that feeds your core, it's a feeding year. Things move, opportunities show up on time. The effort you put in returns more than you spent. When the year brings an element that checks your core or piles onto what you already have too much of, it's a friction year. The same push produces less. Doors stick. And then there's the third kind, the one people feel the hardest and understand the least. The clash year. Every so often, the year's branch lands directly opposite one of the branches you were born with. In the classics, that head-on meeting is called a clash. It's the shake the snow globe year, the year of moves, endings, beginnings, the big decision you've been putting off. Not a bad year, a pivot year. The floor moves so that you'll finally move with it. Now, here's where you stop being the audience. Go to easternreading.com and pull your chart. Free 30 seconds. Find your day master, your core element, and notice what you're heavy in and what's thin. That's the thing. This year is either feeding or fighting. Links in the description. 30 seconds. Go. I'll be right here. Okay, chart in hand. Now let's stack the layers, because this is where it gets real. The year never acts alone. It lands on top of your decade. A feeding year inside a feeding decade. That's a peak. Wind at your back on an open road. These are the years people build monuments in. A feeding year inside a friction decade, that's relief. A good stretch inside a hard chapter. Real but bounded. Don't mistake a good year for the road turning. Enjoy it, use it. Don't bet the house on it lasting. A friction year inside a feeding decade, that's a speed bump, not a wall. The decade is still with you. You slow down, you don't stop. And a clash year on any road, that's the year the road itself bends. The classics don't read a clash as good or bad. They read it as motion. Whatever was loose gets shaken free. Whatever you were clinging to gets tested. Same year. Different chart, different decades, completely different weather. So how do you actually read your own year? 3 checks. You already own all 3. Check 1. What's this year's element? And next year's fire, then fire cooling into earth. Know what's walking in the door. Check 2. Does it feed your core or check it? Look at your day master. If the year feeds it, plant. If it checks it, protect. Check 3. Does the year's branch clash with one of yours? That's the pivot signal. The year to decide and move, not the year to cling. Feeding year, plant and push. Say the yes you've been sitting on. Friction year, protect and build. Cut costs, Deepen skills, don't force the big launch. Clash year, decide a move. Don't white knuckle the thing that's already leaving. The clash is not happening to you, it's clearing the road. That's it. That reframe, knowing which of the three kinds of year you're standing in, is worth more than any prediction. Time for the fine print, the part most channels skip. 3 honest things. First, the year is the smallest lens. It rides on top of the decade, and the decade rides on top of the chart you were born with. A brilliant year inside a hard decade is still inside a hard decade. Don't overread 12 months. Zoom out before you panic or celebrate. Second, a clash year is not a disaster year. I need to say this loudly because somewhere right now, someone is being sold a very expensive cure for their bad year. The classics never wrote bad, they wrote change. A clash is a high energy year, and high energy builds as easily as it breaks. What you do with the shake decides the outcome. And third, nobody escapes their clash years, and nobody should want to. Those are the years you actually move. The smooth years are comfortable, and comfortable rarely changes a life. Circle the year that shook you and look again. I'd bet it's the year you became who you are now. The chart's still free, still 30 seconds, still in the description. And the full reading at $9.99 maps your complete elemental balance, the exact engine every year is acting on, so you're reading the weather against your real chart instead of a guess. Next episode, we change gears completely. We've been treating the 5 elements as raw forces: wood, fire, earth, metal, water. Next time, we give them jobs. Seen through your Daymaster's eyes, the same 5 elements become 10 roles: your wealth, your power, your creativity, your discipline, your rebellion. It's the layer that turns "you have a lot of fire" into "here is exactly what that fire does for you." The 10 gods. It's the episode that makes the whole chart finally click. One last thing, and it's for the comments. Tell me your pivot year, the one year you'd circle on a calendar, the year your life turned. Just the year, and one word: opened or cracked, like 2016 opened, or 2020 cracked. I read everyone. And the shape of your years, once you see it, is hard to unsee. Thanks for being here. See you in the next chart.